We are course fishing, and this video is going to be on what sort of bait to use if you're targeting tench. Right, first of all, you're going to need a selection of different baits. Using just one bait isn't going to be good enough because the tench might be on some other bait on a different day. So say we've got a selection of pellets here. We have some krill pellets to the right. On the bottom we have some pineapple pellets, and we have some strawberry pellets at the top there. These pellets are quite small, but you only put one on a hook at the time. You don't use them to bait up, they're just simply a hook bait. Also, we have some sweet corn over here. You can double up on the sweet corn, but often I just use, and Billy uses, just single sweet corn. We often catch more tench, but they're usually smaller. You can do likewise with the pellets, but make sure to use a size 14 or 16 hook with these if you're just using a single pellet on the hook.
Right, now moving on to the scenting and flavourings. Here at the back we've got some strawberry gloop here. This one is a little bit more thicker. I prefer to add this to like the sweet corn as we got over here, because it seems to stick well to it, because the sweet corn doesn't really hold in the flavourings too much because it's like got a slippery surface, so it can't really sink into it. So I prefer to use the gloop onto that because that tends to stick to it. And down here we've got some like kind of fruit type flavourings here. This one is really strong smelling. We've already caught 3 carp on this, so this is quite good for carp, but it's also good for tench as well. And you can add this to the pellet if you want to change the smell of the pellet. You can just add that. That could get you a couple more results. Here in the middle we've got the vanilla. This is personally my favourite. Tench go crazy for this, as you can see in here. We've nearly run out of it, but this is really good to use. Try and get some hold of some vanilla, you'll get really good results with that. And then worm here, I haven't really used too much of this, but when I do use it, I normally put it on maggots if I'm going on the bottom on a feeder rod. If I'm going for tench, that gives the maggots a bit more of an edge to it. And here we've got the coloured ground bait. It's green in here. It gives it a bit more. It's a bit more visible for the tench, so they can see it a bit better. And this is really good to use if you're trying to target a bigger tench. And you can, if you want, add some of the flavourings into the ground bait to try and get a better result.
So now going into more detail about different types of ground bait. The ground bait that we're using here is the tench ground bait, and it's inactive. Basically, it just sits in the bottom and attracts nice carp and plenty of tension to the swim. It sits in the bottom and doesn't fizz too much, so it's nice and gentle on the bottom. This gives more time for the tench to feed on the bottom. Now, active ground bait fizzes a lot and rises off the bottom, allowing roach and small silverfish to come in and feed on that.
Basically, when you're going fishing, say you're just starting your session, what you want to do is you want to wet your ground bait. You want to loosely pack it so it's not too wet, but as you chuck it in, it sinks down and starts to break up straight away. But then you want to make one that's slightly harder, so when you chuck that one will sit in the bottom, and that will break open a layer, so like an hour layer. So then once you've done that, once they've already finished up on all of your ground bait that you put in first, the one that was loosely compressed, then the other one will break up, and that will give you a nice spacing out. And if you're fishing at really deep depths in the water, you want to make it quite wet, so when it's going down there, if it's really loosely packed, it will just kind of explode on the top, and it will just be pointless. It'll just be feeding all the small roach on top of the water. So it kind of really depends on how deep you're fishing to how hard you want to pack your balls of ground bait.
Now we've told you about all these baits, flavourings and ground baits. We're going to put them to the test and show you our results.
So right now we're just going to start flavouring our sweet corn with, this is the strawberry gloop. As you can see, it's quite thick, and that should be enough to flavour most of the sweet corn. It just gives it a bit more edge to it, and then it doesn't have to cover all the sweet corn. Just like that, you can just pick out the bits that have got the majority of it on. Just give it a good mix around, and that could get you better results, because it smells really strongly of strawberry, and strawberry's like really sweet smelling, like tench and carp and like big fish like sweet smelling stuff. So that should give our sweet corn a better edge over the other people that might be on the lake trying to catch the same fish. Right, Rob's just fishing down to about 4 metres out.
Yeah, I've decided to fish here because I saw some bubbles right at the start popping up, so I thought there'd be some tench feeding down there. And so far I've caught a couple, so I should be able to catch one soon. I'm using the pineapple pellet, and Bill is going to use the sweet corn, hopefully to catch a nice tench.
We're just doing this to show a variety of bait is in. That's a decent tench, that one. That's going to be the biggest tench of the day so far. We've only been down here but a good 20 minutes fishing, and that's 4 tench now, so...
It's a nice fish.
So that's a good pound there.
Yeah,
Pound and a bit. That's really nice, that.
Lovely fish. Right, Bill's fishing off to the right now with a bit of sweet corn. He's just got down to the bottom, so hopefully he'll get a bite shortly. Oh, unlucky. There's quite a few little fish out today on the top. It's not too hot, but it's been raining earlier, so we got the umbrella out. Ah, unlucky. Hooked into one.
I don't know what that was, to be honest.
No, there has been a carp on the top, but I know we're not going for carp. We need to show the tench baits and how successful they are, but there's been a nice carp of about 12 pounds on top. Oh, this will be a nice tench.
Should be. Go have a good fight. That'd be a good one. Oh.
Diving back down now.
It's really nice. Quite a quick take on it. And keep out the weeds. I've been having a lot of bites down there. I've had a lot of bites down there, but whenever I pull up there's been nothing on it, so I think this potentially been playing me about for a bit. And I did hook something quite big earlier, as you saw. I'm not too sure what that was. It could have been a carp, but still a decent tench.
Would have been a nice fish if it would have stayed on, but this is a nice tench.
Hand's a little bit sticky from jacking to that strawberry glue. That's the one bad thing about it, I would say, is that it's very sticky on your hands. It's quite hard to shuffle your pole back.
That's netted. That's nice. Alright, thanks for watching LPR Course Fishing. This has been tench fishing and tips on what bait to use.